Moving into the banning phase then, we are coming in for this week 5 match between Unnamed and Wind and Rain, and we're going to be heading to Coastline. The first ban coming out there, Blackbeard, not an uncommon attacker ban on Coastline. Very, very powerful in a number of locations, particularly can close down the rotations from that penthouse window amongst others. And also Ying, another common attacker ban for Coastline. Again, some very powerful utility with those candelas, useful on a number of sites. Kitchen and service, hooker deck and billiards particularly powerful up there. So we will move on to the defender bans, and the first ban will go to Unnamed, and it will be Echo. Do you think we're going to see another Echo Maestro combo demo, or do you think we're going to see the mirror this time?
So looking at it, I think that these bans are pretty standard for what we have. Glass is available, which I think is pretty strong for the most part, especially on different bomb sites. We have the double window repel. Pretty standard for the most part. We do see Maestro available. Typically it is kind of, do you want Echo, do you want to play against Echo, or do you want to play against Mira, or do you want to play against Maestro? Pick one, because the other two will probably be banned for the most part. We move into it, and we will see the hookah lounge and billiards being the first defense. We've talked about Coastline. For the most part, we see the majority of bomb sites being played in towards that hook. I think it kind of has been that standout bomb site. Sure, Kitchen sees it's playing out again, also Blue Bar, but I think the most dominant percentage of pick rate has been going towards that hookah lounge and billiards. For good reason, because it is a lot more easily defendable. You have great positions where you can play smokes, favors egg hog angles as well, so that's why then we see operators like Maestro available. Then you also look at it and you think, well, if you're an attacker in this scenario, it's pretty easy for you to simply smoke and plant at that aquarium doorway, which is going to be that main attack that we see teams go for time and time again. There's no real different strategies that we see teams try and go for. Sure, the odd quick rush in towards the hookah is viable, but for the most part, that B doorway is a big bottleneck for the attackers to try and get through.
Yeah, maybe could have seen a pulse coming out here. I'm not going to start criticising just yet. We've yet to see Wind and Rain's defence, but a pulse can always be very useful on Coastline. Just to play downstairs, it focuses some of the time and attention away from attacking directly onto site and forces them to clear that downstairs as well, which there are going to be roamers down there. We've got Tyrant and Vex on the Jaeger and Legion, just going to be down there wasting as much time as they can. But the pulse just has that deniability factor of being able to use that C4 toss from underneath. Much of the floor upstairs is destructible on both of the top floor bomb sites. I think pretty much all of the flooring can be gone there. So we'll see whether that becomes an important factor or not. I think we've seen that aquarium door castled off. So as you said, Demo, just looking to slow things down there. Blackout's going to open that floor in the common plant spots there, and that's just going to allow anybody downstairs to try and deny that plant. But we can see Snooken already moving in quickly on the sledge, and they are certainly going to be putting some pressure onto those roamers early in the round here. Meads has got some good progress into VIP as well. We sometimes see Penthouse and Theatre being defended here to, you know, try and ward off this VIP approach. You can open the wall with Hibana there, which I'm sure Meads will probably do any second now into the corridor, and that affords you with your ACOGs some very long angles into sight.
So the first look we call will be established by Tankus, the kind of establishing where the presence of some of these defenders may be. I like that angle that we have seen Meads open up. That completely shuts down any potential rotate, but we have seen Wind and Rain adapt to that and play the deployable shield. Great positioning by them. I think that's a good read that possibly they've looked at some Coastline from Unnamed and saying, yeah, they do this, so let's try and put a bit of counter into it, or maybe it's something that they've ran into inside of their scrimmages, or just now and again where it's kind of been annoying is that teams always like to open up that angle against them. Snooker will be established below, doesn't have any frag grenades, so he cannot try and go for nades if he gets any tags onto that verticality floors. Speed has the LMG in a great position, can try and play back and forth, has the suppressor. Question it. But we'll see how he does. As long as you get a headshot, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But still, no kills whatsoever as we head into 40 seconds.
Yeah, 40 seconds to go, and we can still see we've got Tyrant and Vex out there on the roam. Unnamed haven't really applied too much pressure to those roamers. We can see that Vex has taken shots, but he hasn't been chased down, he hasn't been finished off. We've got a Jackal on the board with Cactus. You know, I've got to ask the question at the minute, what's going on there? And as I'm discussing that, Tyrant on the roam gets the kill onto Snucken. So again, they're going to be ruining the fact that they haven't got rid of them. Cactus will get a kill onto Harris, and a little bit of pressure starts to be applied now, but Vex and Tyrant come in with 2 kills of their own. Razuko trades 1 back out, so that leaves us now in a 3 versus 2. It looks like Razuko is possibly down or on 1 HP. Speeds and Tyrant will finish things off, and that is the first round going in favour of Wind and Rain. And I think Unnamed have suffered there from a lack of sort of progress. They moved in very quickly. They got some downstairs control of Blue Bar, Sunrise. They got control of VIP and Penthouse area very quickly, but then they just never really did anything with it, Demo.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, on a map like Coastline, you need to have the first early pick because it sets you up so well. It just means that the defenders have to hold more angles wherever you could designate them and tally them up with you and your team. But as soon as you lose like a big anchor player, you know, if you lose speeds in that position, it just limits you so much more in what you really can do in a map like Coastline, and especially the way that we've seen Unnamed kind of play in towards. If they did manage to get those first early picks, and they have all these numerous angles being opened up, then hey, that could have went in their favour, but still, just Wind and Rain holding strong. I think the Ecogs really shown their strength on a map like Coastline, like we did touch upon. It's very open, can really do damage whenever it needs to. But hey, we'll move in, and that will be the Sunrise on Blue Bar being the next one picked up. This is going to be, I think, an interesting one for Wind and Rain to see how they will adapt. Typically, we see the Kitchen being the more common the second picked bomb site, and then we usually then see the Blue Bar being that third. But this time they have decided to switch it up, and hey, Blue Bar, whenever Coastline was first released, wasn't a bomb site which I don't think anybody thought would ever be defendable. It's just the meta at the moment. You know, teams have finally cracked out how they managed to defend it, and we see so much of this bomb site more, which was always great to see.
Certainly is. We're going to be moving into round number 2 then. Unnamed this time, I think, certainly need to pay a little bit more attention to those roamers. You can't get to 40 seconds to go with 2 roamers on the opposite floor to the bomb site, whereby they can just apply pressure to those flanks, and that's exactly what we saw happen. We've got Harris and Vex upstairs this time instead of Tyrant and Vex, and really Cactus needs to be getting up there. There's plenty of footprints all over the place. He needs to be making use of that Jackal. We can see he's already moved into Penthouse, so he is going to be pressuring the roamers much more directly this time than he did last time. But we're seeing something similar to what happened last time. That was Snucken was downstairs on his own, trying to clear roamers pretty much on his own. You've got no opportunity for trades there. Cactus is now upstairs largely on his own. So again, he's going to get pinched by 2, potentially 3 roamers. It's going to be a very, very difficult fight for him.
So Tyrant can still produce those goo mines, which I think is always going to be great for more of a sound cue. I don't really think it's going to be more of the nuisance factor, but as long as he knows the position in which he's getting pushed, then he can start firing some pre-fire shots away. He will just start moving down in towards Blue Bar, possibly thinking that, yeah, he may die very soon, which certainly could have been the case. We could have seen a loose flashbang flash him on the stairs. He's dead from that angle as well. However, he will push in towards Kitchen and will win the gunfight against the Ash. So we head into the final half, looking at the positioning from the players of Unnamed. They are kind of spread out. You can see that they're very open in how they're playing. They're very loose. But that can sometimes come in to bite you because you can get singled out by double roamer presence. And certainly Tyrant and Harris can do that. We've seen them do it last week whenever they did play against Vexed. I'm sure this will be no different.
With 1 minute to go then, Unnamed certainly need to be thinking about their approach, and that's an easy kill for Speeds there as he sees Meads moving in on the Hibana on his camera. Not Tyrant will also pick up a kill onto Tank Ninjas at the same time, and that leaves us 5 versus 2 here, and exactly what you were saying there, Demo. Unnamed just playing things too loosely here, and they're just taking every challenge 1 versus 1. The Maestro here is just going to be able to use that LMG. He's going to see the foot there. I don't think he'll get the kill. He will get the kill through the side soft wall. Fantastic plays from Speeds there to take Snucken out, and that leaves Cactus with it all to do. He's going to move himself downstairs after he spent 2.5 minutes upstairs clearing no roamers whatsoever with the Jackal. Blackout will pick up that final kill for Wind and Rain, and I tell you what, so far Wind and Rain looking dominant. Unnamed playing as if they're 5 single players at the minute. You know, I really don't see too much coordination from them. They're not focusing on the roamers. It was a good play from Wind and Rain. You had 2 full-on roamers upstairs, and then you had Rizuku, I think it was, playing, sorry, not Rizuku, you had Tyrant playing on the Cool Vibes stairs, and that made him sort of a semi-roamer. He's less than 5 seconds away from site if support is needed there. He's less than 5 seconds away from top floor if support is needed there. And we saw him pick a kill up as well on the Legion. So there's just not enough being done. What I want to see there is Unnamed getting 3 or 4 in upstairs and just clearing those roamers out. That's a lesson that they need to learn now.
Exactly how you put it. 5 players playing their own match as if they've all just solo queued into a Prem match. That's what it seems like at the moment. So they certainly need to get their communication. I think that's the big thing that they're kind of lacking. They're not paired up. Typically, whenever we see roam clear-outs, we see 2 people work together. M&M, a prime example. We see Doki, we see Saves pushed together. They start clearing out the roamers. It makes a very easy job. Then sure, yes, you can establish at least 1 lone slayer. That's fine, because that's the way Citizen plays, and whenever the 2 main pressure force comes in, just forces them into the other player's grasp. That's what Unnamed need to do, and they're not performing it here. They're letting Wind and Rain play their match. Whenever you let a team do what they're comfortable with, then that's whenever the rounds start adding up. And whenever you finally get that halftime switch to say, oh yes, finally, God, get me off this attack phase, it's been terrible. Oh look, we're 6-0 down.
Exactly, and that's a dangerous, dangerous position to let themselves get into. Then again, we did see it in week 2. Wind and Rain came out of that first phase 5-1 and struggled to close it out. So, you know, whether we see that again, the switch from attack to defence can be telling. But we're going to see Harris and Vex and Tyrant, 3 roamers once again upstairs. It does leave the potential danger of site being rushed. They don't have, the hatch hasn't been dropped, so they don't have necessarily any sort of quick return to site here. And all 3 of them are playing pretty tight up there, so we'll see what happens with that. But we're going to see pressure applied early on to VIP. Vertical control is one of the most important things for a kitchen push a lot of the time. If not, you're working through single doorways, and it can be very, very dangerous. What you need to do is establish some top floor control. We're going to see Harris on the roam again, get the kill onto Cactus. Is he going to find himself a second? He's certainly going to be challenging through that soft wall, but he won't manage to get the kill. He's just going to do the sensible thing, move away and keep his life. Blackout with a kill onto Tank Ninjas, and those roamers still being able to just hassle the sides, move around at will. You know, I'd have potentially maybe even got somebody up on rooftop, cut off that rotate. The Maestro would not have been able to move through to VIP then.
They're playing too predictable. That's the main thing. How many times have you seen a team attack like this? A lot of times. There's nothing really different. I'm sure Wind and Rain have defended against us many, many times. It's very simple. Tyrant, great. Wall buying from him. I believe the champ we're using for Tyrant this Prem season is Woogie. I believe that's what the players have dubbed him. Don't know if that works.
Not sure.
What do you think?
I think it does.
I think it does.
Let's go with it. So Tyrant is going to move himself back down Cool Vibes stairs, and this is something that we've seen from him previously. He's just playing in between that roam and the site. Harris is going to spot out the Ash on his Maestro cam. It will be destroyed, but again, information is key. He knows the location of Rizuko now, and that shout out is going to have gone out. But 5 versus 2, the roamers have been able to rotate back to site. Their job is largely done. 40 seconds to go, and the pressure is all on Unnamed here. With only 2 men, they did have the diffuser in hand, but Harris will get the first kill onto Meads, and that leaves Rizuko in a 1 versus 5. He's going to hit a goo mine, which again is going to give that call out from Tyrant as to where he's approaching on Cool Vibes stairs. And this is surely a matter of time now until he gets punished here. He's 15 seconds left to go. He's going to drop into the atrium. He will not drop into the atrium as Vex takes him out as he jumps over the balcony, and he was just waiting for that rotate. Once again, great defense from Wind and Rain.
I hate to say it, but we could be on for a potential 6-0 sweep on the defense. I think this is looking incredible from Wind and Rain. They've just completed a full rotation, and on a map like Coastline that had so much things going for attackers, if you're unnamed, you should start to worry. Big time.
Absolutely, and I mean, we look at that, and you look at those first 3 sites, as you say, they've done a full rotation now where they're able to go back to the first site that they won, and I don't see any of them sites that Unnamed have come anywhere close. They just haven't got anywhere near on them. So you know, usually you look at your following rounds and you think, right, we were close on Hooker. How can we build on that? What do we develop? What do we do differently? You know, how do we tweak it? We don't need tweaks here. We need wholesale change.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
So we move into then the first bomb site that they did defend, which is going to be that Hooker Lounge, and they did win that pretty clean as well. We talked about Unnamed just looking like 5 people have solo queued and haven't communicated whatsoever. The roam clear out has been non-existent. But still, Unnamed, we know they have the gun skill. We know they have the coordination. We've seen it from them before. But all of a sudden, this Wind and Rain team, with the pickup of having Tyrant and Speeds, it looks like a completely different team than we've been seeing. Even last week, they had a great match against Vex. They were very unlucky not to walk away with at least a draw. And really, if Wind and Rain manage to take this matchup against Unnamed, we could see them just snag a playoff spot.
Absolutely, I think you know, it's really going to give them some confidence and momentum coming into that final week, and we know how important that can be in late fixtures like that. So I'm going to see Blackout just shooting out that aquarium wall to give a bit of an angle around that castle barricade. Snooken looks like he's going to be rappelling up to the roof. Not sure he's going to, I think he's just going to drop down and get that castle open just to apply some pressure from the double window. Will he catch Blackout? No, he won't quite. Blackout manages to get himself round and into the safety behind the wall next to Bar there. So we're going to have Speeds, Harris and Blackout playing upstairs, and once again Vex and Tyrant downstairs. This is exactly what we saw last time. We saw Snooken move in downstairs and not really do anything with it because he was 1 versus 2. Rizuko is going to move himself into Aquarium quite quickly, and Tank is going to follow that up. So this time they're managing to get at least numbers into the same location to start thinking about a coordinated push. Tank is just going to put that ACOG to use, see if he can get a view into the Hooker area there, see if he can get any picks. He's going to take that Maestro cam out with his explosive grenades from the Zafir gadget. Maestro just out on the cool vibe stairs there again. All the roamers just holding steady. Snooken getting a good first kill with the frag onto Harris.
There's one thing which I would like to have seen Unnamed do. I don't think they have the time to do it now, but that would be put Meads on the roof to begin with, fire 2 X-Kairos pellets onto that quad wall towards the east, right beside Blackout. If you manage to open up those walls behind him, he cannot play inside this position. Sure, you can say, oh, once he plays behind the other 2, well, you see that long angle that they had the last time. However, Cactus, he will pick up Blackout. That will give enough cover for the defuse to come in. Tyrant, what a flank, finds 2, could it be on for the 3rd? He's just going to play it very slowly. Vex as well starting to creep up. Tyrant knows there's going to be one right beside him, but will be Tank scurrying away into a 2 versus 2. Vex has to pull out something. He goes for the run out. That will be great, but still, Mead has the long angle that he opened up very early on. This could be a long arm defuse. Vex will start to move in. Flashbang comes in. Mead has to try and get these kills. Pitched between a rock and a hard place. What a retake for Wind and Rain. Tyrant and Vex. Double kill for the both of them. Wind and Rain at their best.
Tyrant and Vex. Where were they playing at the beginning of the round? Downstairs on the roam. Once again, not really handled. I was going to suggest possibly a late flank coming in from Tyrant, and that's exactly what happened as he moved through luggage. Got himself a double kill, and whilst Unnamed had applied good early pressure to site and got the diffuser down, they just weren't in a position to defend it from a well-timed flank. Had that flank come in later, it probably wouldn't have been successful, so definitely props there to Tyrant for just getting his timing right and moving through and picking up some easy kills. But again, great aggression from Vex, jumping out of the window, predicting the location and getting that headshot as he dropped. You know, you've still got to win your gunfights at that point. I think the last player on the Unnamed side was just out of position a little bit. He could have got the counter defuse immediately, to be fair. He came off it, he did give it a bit of a fake. I think he probably could have just stuck it at that point, but obviously he was not to know that.
Yeah, half of the round really did come down to decision making. I think a lot from Tyrant. Sure, he was unlucky not to just go for the long arm. He knew that would have worked. Mead, even if he was still inside of that that main circle desk, wouldn't really have mattered in the long run. I think that he was in a safe position. And again, but stuck between a rock and a hard place, he really couldn't do much in that scenario. Sure, we're seeing progress from Unnamed. Should have been their round, but like we've seen, Vex and Tyrant having completely different opinions on how that round should have went in. And that will lead us into our 5th bomb site. This is 4 in a row for Wind and Rain. I think the prediction of seeing a clean sweep is just looking more and more favourable. The hand, really, that Wind and Rain have been dealt has been great. I think that their pickups, like I said, have been really strong. Tyrant especially. He's shown a lot from himself, and still a very young player. Only turned 18 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, that rotate, that flank is basically what won them the round there. I'm a bit disappointed with Unnamed. You've got 2 players in luggage, you've got the diffuser down, you don't need both players looking in towards site. If one of them had flipped 180 and just watched that luggage door, they kill Tyrant as he comes through, and you know, it doesn't happen. But we're going to see an early nade coming in and just doing a little bit of damage to Tyrant there. Not too much, only about 25, so he's going to live to fight another day, that's for sure. But we're going to see, again, early pressure coming in towards site. You can see one of the Unnamed players moving into office already there and trying to apply some dominance. But once again, we've got Tyrant playing on those cool vibe stairs. It's been such a powerful location for him so far, allowing him that flex between anchor and roaming. And again, we're going to see if he can do any damage from there. Meads is just holding a long angle into sight at the minute, hoping to take that early pick if anybody tries to rotate. We've got Blackout and Speeds both holding down the Sunrise location. No major progress from Unnamed yet, and we're a minute and a half in.
So looking at the way that they've kind of established their playstyle from Unnamed, still very loose. They're not really pushing together. I don't think they have a clear indication. Like you can see, there's one person trying to push in towards A, one person's toward kitchen, somebody's still trying to fight upstairs. They don't have a clear indication on where they're going. They haven't took control of that lobby. You can see Wind and Rain have opened up the entirety of those walls. That A bomb site is going to be null and void if they try and push in there, because there's just too many angles that, for example, Tyrant could rotate in, jump over the wall, pick up a 2K. They will, however, shift their attention towards said A, but they have to take control of that courtyard or this will not work.
Absolutely, and I can see you've got 2 or 3 stacking up there, and they are in real danger of getting hit quickly. But Tank Ninjas will take Blackout, and he will follow it up with a second onto Tyrant. So this one looking certainly better for Unnamed now. They've applied all the pressure from the same side. Vex will move in and get the kill onto Meads, but Tank will trade that out with one of his own. Vex with 2 more, that leaves him on a 3K. He's got the 4th down. That's going to leave him 1 versus 1. How about this from Vex? He just has Razuko left. The diffuser is down. He just needs to play it, but Razuko will win the gunfight with a headshot onto Vex, and that was awfully close for Wind and Rain. Just clawing that one back from the jaws of defeat, but they couldn't quite make it.
In that scenario, you know that he's inside of courtyard. There's not a lot of time left. You know you have the position of the diffuser. That's whenever you don't peek. That's the moment. You make the pressure be applied to that Ash. You are an alibi. You are not winning that long angle gunfight against an R4C of an ACOG. That just doesn't happen, because we know Ash R4C ACOG at the moment is the best gun in the game, and that's why it's getting nerfed for that reason. The ACOG's no longer going to be a part of her kit. And that just shows why. She wins way too many gunfights, because essentially you have that 4x zoom in, and the gun doesn't have any recoil. That's the main thing. If you had an ACOG and I had quite a lot of recoil, for example, like Buck's C8, sure, it would have been fine, but in this scenario, it doesn't work because it's just too strong.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have wanted to take that fight against Ash with a holo, to be honest, on the alibi. I think, like you say, he just needs to get himself away, watch that diffuser. There's absolutely no choice from the Unnamed player but to move in and try and collect that diffuser or get the kill. So like you say, at that point, he's just got to put himself into the strongest angle that he can and just wait. Unfortunately, you know, I think sometimes he's got a number of kills under his belt very quickly there. You know, your blood starts pumping and you just think you're ready for the gunfight and you step out for the challenge. And unfortunately, probably the wrong decision there. But at 4-0, it's not the end of the world. It leaves them 4-1. If they can take this round, they're 5-1. And, you know, I think if you'd offered them that beforehand, they'd probably have taken it. So I'm sure that they won't be too cut up about that. We're going to see them going back down to Kitchen now for round number 6. We can see we've got Harris and Tyrant upstairs again on the roam. As we saw Kitchen last time, Unnamed did very little against the roam. We can see this time we've got Meads and Tank Ninja Rizuko joining them on that hooker deck and moving into hooker quickly. So I think we're going to see a much more comprehensive roam clear here, hopefully. Rizuko and Meads just moving in together. You can see the drone coming out there. He's going to check Cool Vibes stairs for the Tyrant. He knows that his backside is clear now, and Rizuko gets that first kill onto Tyrant. Better roam clear coming out from Unnamed. Let's see if they can finish it by taking Harris and Vex. Shots will fire in on both. Rizuko gets the first onto Harris. Vex will trade that out, but Meads does his job. This is what we were saying, Demo, working in a pair. So they've got in and they've got that trade. That leaves them now 4 versus 2, and this is much, much better for Unnamed, but will it be too little too late?
There's still potential for Wind and Rain. They've already clawed back 1 2v4. Can they do the same? That's going to be the anchors. Down to them. We know Speeds can challenge with the ACOG, but he's going to start get wall bind and will meet his demise. Cactus as well will get the tag in. Easy spray for Meads. 1 versus 4. Clean up. Brilliant from Meads. That was good stuff from him. The buck pushes in. Great tags as well. You have to give credit to Cactus. Really horrible situation for you in a 1 versus 4 whenever you see a drone land right at your feet. That's just tragic. Yeah. But yeah, good pullback. Unnamed. They have something to work on. But hey, good adaptability finally for those last 2 bomb sites. But maybe the damage has already been enough for Wind and Rain. They now have a go on the attacks. And this is where Tyrant gets his go on his Ash.
Certainly is. And like you say, good adaptability there from Unnamed, but maybe just, you know, is it enough? Is it soon enough? That last round was fantastic. You know, we had 2 players. We had Meads, we had Rizuko working in together, covering each other's angles. They cleared Tyrant out very quickly. They put a lot of damage onto Harris and Vex, and then they managed to finish them off. So they lost 3 players for only 1 in return by working as a pair and getting that final trade. And it was exactly what was needed. I just don't understand why they didn't figure that out 3 or 4 rounds ago and start doing it, you know. But if we see them working as a team better on defence now, maybe getting a pairing like that out on the roam, they could start to do some damage similar to what Wind and Rain have just done to them.
So there is going to be distinct changes in the attacks. I think looking at the lineup operators, you know, typically we've seen Sledge and Buck being brought by the sides of Unnamed. They favoured their fry grenades, and this time Wind and Rain have went down more of the utility route. They've brought a set of smokes, which is going to be really helpful for that final push in towards Aquarium, just like we've seen Unnamed do. But then they're going to bring operators like the IQ, like the Sophia, to use that utility, get the stuns in, get rid of the Valkyrie cameras that we know are available. Typically the rule is if there's at least 2 big operators that have electronic gadgets, you bring the IQ. Typically it would be if you see Valkyrie and you see you know, like Legion available, then you would kind of bring the Valkyrie camera, or you bring the IQ scanner, get rid of the Valkyrie cameras and the goo mines. Sometimes sure you can get away with it. We've seen maps like Consulate where Echo and Valkyrie have been banned, and yeah, you can kind of get away with an IQ. Sure, goo mine, you don't really see those, but is it worth sacrificing another operator? In the long run, no.
So we're going to see an early kill coming out from Meads there, and that is the sort of aggression that Unnamed are going to need here, just to really send a message to Wind and Rain now to let them know that they are in a fixture. And it's also going to be the Ash of Tyrant, so we're not going to see him be able to put that operator to use this round. Harris with a return kill onto Snookum will bring us to 4 versus 4, and we can just see that pressure coming from the luggage and aquarium area out onto this balcony. We've got Vex and Harris, somewhat of a sort of a stalemate position at the minute. They're getting pinched from both sides. It's going to be difficult to push in. They've got, I think, a player just in the corner of aquarium. No, he's being cleared out now. So that's going to allow them to push into aquarium now, and they just need to start locking down these angles to stop those roamers coming back and hassling them on the flank. We still have 2 out on the roam, I think. At the minute, we've got Rizuko and Cactus were playing downstairs. We can see Rizuko down in office. Now Now, are Unnamed going to learn about what happened to them? Cactus with a great C4 toss to get the kill on to Vex. Rizuko just waiting, and it's all about that timing. Tyrant hit them hard in the luggage area, and it was all about timing. Speeds will get a kill onto Meads. Will Unnamed be able to take advantage of that timing?
Have a feeling we may see a similar position being played by Cactus and what we've seen in Nello from Consulate. Let's not forget, Coastline, a lot of destructibility. Where the plant spot would be located, we can see the shotguns come in. However, Harris, they know that someone's going to be lurking below, and they just push the bomb site. They clean it out. Harris will start his plant. No pings coming in from Cactus. That's unfortunate. He does see one, but we will see it be stopped. The pool table's there. Plant the pool table. It's the safe position you can be. So it's down to Cactus. 1 versus 3, trying to find an angle. Finds nothing from it. We'll have to try and rotate in towards the blue stairs. His phone is still ringing. Of course, that Dokkaebi change that will come in. We'll stop that, but instead we'll go for the manual turn off. 1 versus 3, still how it stands. Cactus pushes up. That barbed wire will also give his sound away. Works against the defender in this scenario. Tries to peek on in, but I'm sure Speeds will manage to find a kill. DMR shots come in. Cactus still staying alive, but really at what cost? Finally, it was actually Harris there. Manages to find the kill. And Cactus falls, and well, Wind and Rain. Really great sight being shown by them. They know that there's going to be a player below. Has a shotgun. Has the pings. That could have been really big, but in this circumstance, Wind and Rain, they made the correct play. They pushed in, they had the man force, they knew it was a 2 versus 3 on site. They won the gunfights, and a simple cleanup from there.
Yeah, I think they were just a little bit more decisive. Like you say, Unnamed were playing as sort of individuals, so even when they recognised that there was only 2 men on site, 1 man on site, they weren't really in a position to push with any great force. Wind and Rain slightly different. They had their execute setup ready, and they just challenged site quickly and started getting that diffuser down. That being said, Rizuko, I think, was just a little bit eager to get back to site. He moved back up from the roam on the Jaeger with about 1:10 to go. We saw his counterpart Tyrant doing exactly the same, but just with much better timing. He left it till later in the round. He sort of held his nerve. The diffuser had gone down, and then he moved in and got a double kill from behind, and that really swung the round. Rizuko moving back to site with a bit too long on the clock, I think, just took away that impact, and he was pretty much picked up on the rotate as he moved back in and had very little impact. So the Roamers doing a reasonable job to begin with, but then it just sort of fell off, and Wind and Rain took advantage of that and managed to isolate a man downstairs, and then at that point it's extremely difficult to get back upstairs from there. You know, what do? You've got 3 men upstairs, you're downstairs, you can open up all the holes you want, but you're unlikely to get back up there and challenge.
So an operator that we have seen being picked quite a bit has been that Alibi. Quite a surprising operator to say the least. She was brought in around 6 months ago now, part of Parabellum, along with Maestro, who has had a massive increase in ban rate just because the impact he puts onto certain maps. But Alibi, one of the operators that we don't see too often, and that's because, sure, her gadget isn't as flashy as the rest of them. She still has good advantages. Sometimes they, you know, just seeing ahead of an Alibi makes you automatically lock on thinking it's an actual Alibi in that scenario. But she still has a great gun. Not in that case, Tyrant puts her completely in the hole. But again, great gun, MX4 Storm, which is a free speed, can be played as a roamer, has impact grenades, has a shotgun as well, which is quite handy for opening up a potential rotation hatch. And you know what, there's a couple of little niche picks that we see now and again, Alibi being one of those, but for the most part, I don't think she puts that big of an impact on where she wants to be.
No, I'd agree with you. I like Alibi as an idea, as a concept. I think, you know, maybe a little buff might be in order. Just personally, I'd like to see the holograms just altered to allow you to put them into different positions, maybe crouch, maybe prone, and also for the uniform to mirror that of your operator rather than just staying as default. I think those things would go a long way towards, you know, just giving her a little bit more use and making it a little less predictable. It's generally quite easy to say whether it's one of the holograms or not. But moving back into this round number 8, we are 5 versus 4 in favour of Wind and Rain, and things looking quite good for them at the minute. They've cleared out one of those roamers downstairs. We can see they've got another 2 operators down there just looking to take control. They've got the book of Vex down there, so he's going to be able to start opening things up. As we've already commented, a lot of destructible surfaces underneath this site. Harris getting the kill onto Snucken, so that's going to leave us 5 versus 3 now. Wind and Rain with a minute to go, and they've got all the time in the world to set up this execute. Tyrant getting a fantastic kill onto Razuko, being allowed to just roam underneath with that Ash there and clear out the last remaining defensive roamer. So that's going to leave Meads and Tank Ninjas on site. There's 1A, 1B, and they've certainly got it all to do at this point. Vex have got 45 seconds. They've got plenty of time to just set themselves up here. I'd maybe like to see them get a couple of operators on either side. They've got one on roof and just really put some pressure on. I think that's what Tyrant's going to do, moving up Cool Vibes here. He's just going to look to apply some pressure from the hooker side so they can start thinking about getting that diffuser down.
As long as you have 1 second to get off that defuse, you have all the time in the world. Unless there's a C4 lurking. That C4 will be displaced with a 1 versus 5, and wow, clean sweep from Wind and Rain inside of round number 8. They take a flawless attacking win. Tyrant, massive kills from him. Again, I think since this guy has managed to come into this Wind and Rain side, it has really revitalized this team.
Totally agree. Tyrant's been very impressive so far. He's, you know, it's not just about going and getting 4 kills, aces, everything. You know, he's just doing an excellent job. He's on 11 and 3, and I think the 3 is more important than the 11 there. He's keeping himself alive. He's surviving late into the round. He's being able to have an impact at the late stages. We saw on defence a number of times him applying pressure on the flanks. He wasn't being taken out on the roam. He wasn't giving his life up too easily. He was just doing exactly what a roamer needs to do, and that is wasting as much time as possible. And now he's doing exactly what an entry fragger needs to do. He's getting in with the Ash. He's cleared out, I think, 2 of the roamers downstairs there, and he's just allowed the rest of his team to focus on the site, to apply that pressure and to stop any of the other defenders rotating away from site to support that roam. So great plays from Wind and Rain.
So this could be the potential final round as we head in to a Kitchen defense. And looking at the trend that we've seen from Kitchen has been Wind and Rain did defend it twice, and they did lose it once and also win it once. This will be the first Kitchen defense that we're going to see from the players off Unnamed. This will be quite interesting to see their roam game. I think their roam game, just the way they play, is a lot more aggressive compared to a team like Wind and Rain, where they like their late rotation flanks. Unnamed will take the gunfight straight up. We're seeing a Vigil being brought for the first time. A very strong operator, especially for a roam game on a map like Coastline, where we've talked about if you manage to get droned out in a certain area, it's very easy for you to get cut off from the rest of your team, because there is that massive courtyard that you can place one attacker on the rooftop. Means he cannot cross in towards the luggage and also in towards that main corridor. So there is a lot of advantages bringing the Vigil. And again, the K1A, great gun as well. Essentially no recoil. Has pretty good damage output as well, and having an SMG-11 is always a really good one. SMG-12 actually. But yeah, I think Vigil first bomb site will do some work.
Yep, so we can see 3 roamers on the top floor, not too much of a surprise. Cactus getting a good early kill onto Harris there, so that's going to take the IQ off the board, and that's an important operator to get out of the way early. We've got a Legion on the defensive side, so that is really going to help keep those goo mines in play, and also the Vigil as well, which IQ can pick up on her scanner, so that's just going to free Razuko up a little bit to apply pressure on the roam. I think Wind and Rain need to learn from what, you know, how they lost this. As you said, Demo, Unnamed did successfully attack this, and it was the best attack that we saw from Unnamed. Snucken getting a kill onto Speeds there as well. It was the best attack because they worked in, they cleared that top floor quickly as a pair and really applied pressure to site from there once those roamers had been taken out. Wind and Rain are going to struggle with 3 versus 5 now to apply too much pressure to the top floor, and that is going to make attacking site very difficult, because with 3 men it's rough to try and watch all the flanks and the potential rotates that are going to come back towards you.
Tyrant on the hunt for anything he can to at least give his team a fighting chance. As long as there's roamers, you cannot really play Kitchen the way you want to. Tank will start to come in from the flank. They know he's inside of the courtyard. They heard him lurking around. Of course, that camera did get shot. Gooey Mine as well will be tossed in. Snucken will find Tyrant. Tank nearly takes out Meads as well, but just holds the trigger back for the meantime. A 2 versus 5. Vex is very low HP. He was not able to do his thing, which is going to be buck open the entirety of that kitchen roof. But in this scenario, doesn't really have a lot to go off. Him and Blackout stacked outside. This is a bottle point at this stage. There's players in towards that courtyard, has those feet holes they can use, and Tank with a flank eliminates Vex, perches him right up on towards that half wall, and Blackout just runs to his death. Nice round from Unnamed. I think their roam game was really strong. Wind and Rain just an unlucky round. They didn't really have anything to go off.
Yeah, I don't think they'll panic too much there. Like you said, they were just ineffective against their own game top floor, and that's something that we saw when Wind and Rain won that defence. You know, Unnamed just didn't deal with the roam on the top floor. So it just shows how important that map control is when attacking Kitchen. But that's going to bring us into round number 10. Still 6-3 now in favour of Wind and Rain. Gives them another 3 bites at the cherry to try and finish this one off. All they need is that one round, and it's going to mean that Unnamed have to play each of the sites. So if there is going to be a weakness there, I'm sure Wind and Rain will be poised to find it.
So we head into our still potential final round of the match. It's going to be a long one, keep saying that time and time again. If Unnamed could do the exact same thing they did to Wind and Rain inside of week 2, and that was a 6-2 deficit, and they pull it back and take a draw from that. And let's keep in mind, that was the only draw that we have had this entire season, which I think sets the tone quite heavily that we're not seeing more draws. I remember going back to last season, there was a couple of draws, there was a good number of draws. This time, there's been 1. That's possibly due to Group A being so dominant by 2 teams. And possibly because Group B has been just such a roller coaster where teams have been beating each other left, right and centre. It's been a very weird one, I think, for Group B as well. But having 1 draw, I think, does justify the way the match has been played. Really, if it does come to a draw, Wind and Rain will not be happy at all with how they want to go into it. If both of these teams take a draw, they don't lose any round difference, they don't gain any round difference. And then it really puts the pressure on both of them next week to see if they can win or lose their matches.
Yeah, I think Wind and Rain are going to be extremely disappointed if this goes to a draw. It'll be the second time that they've been 6-2 up and then failed to finish things off. And that is the sort of record that can really damage you in a group stage situation like this. But we're going to see the hooker site again. This has been defended twice so far, unsuccessfully. So Wind and Rain going to be carrying a lot of confidence. I'm not too sure if Unnamed might have been better going to Blue Bar and Sunrise here. It's somewhere they haven't defended yet, and maybe would have just offered them a little bit of a variation rather than a site that they've lost twice so far. Wind and Rain looking quite patient so far. A minute gone and not too far into the building. It looks like we've got Vex and Tyrant inside, Blackout and Harris just moving around the external of the building there. I think Vex actually is just outside. So very few inside yet, not too much map control gained. 1 minute 50 to go.
Tank will get things going for kill on the speeds, but Tyrant's there for the quick refrag. Snook and also will come in contact to a player inside of Kitchen, but holds his ground. Cactus with 1, on to Vexed. 4 versus 3. This is going in favour of Unnamed at the moment, but quick 2 kills from Wind and Rain will certainly lead that into their favour. Blackout will start doing a bit of drone work, finding out the remaining players and where they may be stationed. He just barely missed Snook and playing in towards that blue stairs, and our next confrontation will be in form of the IQ versus the Legion. Tyrant knows there's one in towards the blue bar, but Snooker knows his patience, keeps it cool, keeps it calm, as Tyrant will start to approach on his flank. Goo Mines as well to try and keep them at bay. Basically, Tank just needs to waste time at this moment as they go into the final minute.
Tank, good decision not to apply too much pressure there, just holding his angle. At the end of the day, as we've said, it's the attackers that have to take the initiative. They're the ones that have to get things moving, but we're going to see Ash just moving in, opening up those angles from Sunrise now. As we commented, so much vertical play available here, and the Doc of Cactus is just going to be juicing himself back up after taking a small amount of damage. Wind and Rain, not too much map control gained here. They've really seemed to have struggled and stalled out compared to how they attacked this site last time. Tank will get a kill onto Tyrant, and that now leaves us 4 versus 2 in favour of Unnamed, and they're certainly defending this better than they did last time. Meads with a kill onto Blackout. It leaves it all to do for Harris, and he won't be able to do any of it as Cactus gets the headshot and finishes things off in favour of Unnamed.
So another defense coming out from the players of Unnamed. And this is where things get interesting, because we only have 2 more rounds left. This either comes to Wind and Rain finally being able to close out the match, or Unnamed literally do something that we wouldn't think would come again. You know, it's a bit of a deja vu we're kind of feeling here as we see the comeback coming in swift and strong from Unnamed. In general, Wind and Rain on their attacks, there's been good points, but the final execution for some of them has been very lacking. I think the first blood does sway them quite a bit. We've seen Unnamed now for the 2nd time in a row on their defense get the first blood. Typically, for the other 2 bomb sites that they did lose against the Wind and Rain attack, Wind and Rain got the first blood. So I think it's a big factor of whoever kills who's first is kind of deciding how the round will pace out. And I've talked about in the pre-match analysis, the pacing. Straight away from the first kill, that will set the tone and how you play that round out. If you miss your main fragger, that really does uproot things, because the supports who typically drone out those fraggers will have to then be those fraggers, and it really does mess with the compatibility that teams like to have on a map like Coastline. It's very set in the structure and their format. Slayers have to really work harder on this map because the roam game is so strong on Coastline.
Yeah, it is, and it comes down to the rotations. There's so many available. If you don't have somebody on the roof, you can pretty much drop into the courtyard from anywhere. You've got 2 sets of stairs, opposite ends of the map, so it's difficult to flank watch both of them because you're taking 2 men out of the game to do that. So yeah, the roam game is extremely important. But Wind and Rain, I'm sure, are going to want to finish this out, but we can't underestimate the mental game here either. They've already been in this position in this season and they've already ended up with a draw. They certainly don't want to have that reverse sweep again, but when it gets to 6-4, it starts to get in your mind a little bit, and all of a sudden you start missing them shots that you might otherwise have hit. Like you say, if that first kill goes in the favour of Unnamed, again, it's another big blow to Wind and Rain. So I'm sure they're going to be playing a little bit more cautious than maybe they've been so far, and that could be the difference. We're going to see Harris there moving out and just getting the Claymore down on that hooker deck door so that they're not suffering any runouts. But it was quite a bit away from the wall, so it might be possible with a bit of a lean to shoot that out, but they're going to be still applying pressure. I think they know that Tank is in here, and what an age coming in from Vex. He will be traded straight back out by Snooken, but Tyrant will get a second onto Razuko as well. So that's now going to leave us 4 versus 3. Snooken, the trade master at the minute, getting in and taking Tyrant out as well. He's certainly doing a shift for his team. He's now on low health. He's going to have to get himself back to sight as the Maestro. Those cams can be awfully important in the late game if Wind and Rain get themselves into a position to execute and put a plant down. So I'm sure we're going to see Snooken just making sure he keeps himself alive here. Blackout, I'm sure, doesn't know that he's got a player directly below him, but it looks like we've got some good top floor control for Wind and Rain now. So the question is, what can they do with it? In comes the Jackal track. Is the Hibar going to make a challenge? He certainly tries, but he won't land any shots just yet.
Yeah, that Trackle is going to be very big in favour of Wind and Rain. If Blackout can manage to snag out a floorbind kill, massive kill, because that really does open things up, especially in towards that Sunrise, which should be an easy push for Blackout if he manages to go for it. All 3 members will be stacked up in towards the west side. If they jump through the window, that's pretty much suicide. It's a bottleneck at this stage. Cactus can peek around with that shotgun or the SMG-11. Has gas canisters as well. Meads and Snooken are going to be located in the other half of the map. Meads a little bit closer, Snooken quite the distance. Sunrise is looking pretty good at the moment for the players of Wind and Rain. Harris, good kill on the Cactus. That's the Lich pin gone. That is going to be the big factor that will see Wind and Rain hopefully to that finish line. Snooken on such low HP, if he does manage to find a headshot, that will be a massive kill. But if Harris sees just the tiniest show of a body, that'll be all she wrote, and that will be all she wrote. Blackout cleans things up with a double kill. Wind and Rain finally get their victory against Unnamed.
Great plays there from Wind and Rain. Very patient on that last round. Did exactly what they needed to do. Snooken, a strong performance, 2 very important trades to keep his team in it, and then I think he made a good decision moving himself off more towards the main lobby area. Let's not forget he's got the ACOG on that Auda, so he's just giving himself every chance with sort of 20 HP. He's giving himself every opportunity to pick up another kill in that long range fight rather than taking the close range engagements and probably losing them. As it is, he lost it anyway, but it was about the best he could do. Wind and Rain though, not shaken by that. You know, they could have expected to at least have man advantage coming into that, which they didn't, but they did what they needed to do. 2 good kills from Blackout to finish it off.
I'm not going to lie, when I saw it say 6-2 and Unnamed were clawing back round for round, I was like, not again. It's not going to be a repeat of the exact same scenario, but a different map. But the great thing was, as they settle things down a bit, play a little bit more methodical, I think they just managed to adapt a lot better compared to Unnamed during those later rounds.
I think their defense was a big thing to take away from. You know, we really haven't seen that give a start, especially on a map like Coastline. 4 straight rounds on the trot, very difficult thing to do, and whenever there is a lot of things that go in favour of attackers, then yeah, you have to give credit to Wind and Rain. They kind of did fall off a little bit. I think Unnamed finally got their swing of things. You know, if Unnamed managed to do what they did in their attacks a little bit sooner, then yes, we could have went into the next half, but 3 rounds apiece, and that could have really set the tone in the way that things go. You have to commend Tyrant. Certainly MVP of my match. I think that he had some great, massive impact kills, and that's exactly what Wind and Rain were lacking for such a long time, with someone just to step up and cause mayhem and really make Unnamed fear him. That's one thing that you don't really want to deal with. It's like going up against Team Secret. You don't want to play against Leon. No one wants to play against that guy. And you could say the same for Tyrant.
That's true, and like you mentioned before, in those first 4 rounds, it was such a dominating start from Wind and Rain, and it was so clean and efficient, and at some stage I thought it was going to be a 5-1 or 6-0 first half.
Yeah, difficult to say who won and who lost it, really. You know, Wind and Rain came out and played very well, so the argument is there that they, you know, went and won those rounds. But Unnamed did start off very, very slow. As we saw, they were sort of playing in a big circle, if you will, a big ring, just coming in as 5 individuals, all from different angles, not really applying any direct pressure. They were playing across both levels as well. So, you know, the first round sticks in my mind. You had Snucken downstairs with the sledge, challenging 2 roamers. You know, it's very unlikely to end well, and it didn't. And I think, as we commented, going into the Wind and Rain attacking phase, the damage was done. 4-2, a little bit too much of a mountain to overcome for the second time.
Yeah, it was quite difficult. We'll put him second now, so it'll give him a good opportunity now to go for that playoff spot to the bare minimum, depending on what happens next week. And would you say for now, for Wind and Rain, it takes a little bit of pressure off their shoulders? Not, I wouldn't say completely comfortable, but make them think, well, we're almost guaranteed that spot in the playoffs, but no one wants to get third and playing against possibly M&M.
Yeah, I don't think anybody at the moment wants to go against either Secret or M&M. It's still a possibility. M&M could potentially take the first place, and then Secret will take that second spot, but still, you don't want to play against Secret either. So I've said this at the start of the season, whoever gets that 3rd place from Group B will have one heck of a fight.
They're going to have a bad time. Just to say, would you agree though on that kind of
Absolutely. I think even now, looking between these 2 teams, Wind and Rain and Unnamed, it is not going to be easy for anybody to take the 2nd place. We've got Epsilon and Vex, 2 very good teams. You know, if you're looking at, you know, Wind and Rain have taken the advantage now. What do you think they need to do next week? How do they build on this demo to really challenge for that 2nd place?
Well, I think looking at it, the only thing they really need to do is get the round difference. They don't even need a win, because they got that win. All they need is round difference. That's the thing that sets them apart from Unnamed at the moment. So yeah, in general, I think going into it, we will see next week's going to be Unnamed versus Vex in that scenario. More than likely, we're favouring the scales to go in favour of Vexed, and especially whenever they could come out top of the group after tonight's standings, then yeah, that's going to be massive for them. And then we will have Epsilon versus Wind and Rain, which we did see not a whole lot of that, because it was then a forfeit victory. It kind of got to that, I believe it's 4 rounds to 1, and then it was a forfeit from Unnamed in that scenario. And then at the same time, if Epsilon win tonight, then they're just going to be, wow, qualify pretty much at that stage. Yeah,
they're going to be laughing. I think mathematically they should just be able to qualify for the offline finals depending on the situation. We'll have to look back on that just to make sure, and it wouldn't really surprise me anyway. But if you do want to vote for your MVP for that game, make sure you go to @ESL UK on Twitter and make sure to vote for the player which you think should be the MVP for that one. There's quite a few names, to be fair. If Vex managed to pull off that 1v4 in that 5th round, then yeah, you really couldn't say no to that. I was hoping he would, but it was just by the glitch of his teeth, to say the least. But we do have an interview now with Harris to see exactly what he thinks and talk to me about exactly what happened in that game. And hello, Harris, how's things?
Good. Very happy about the win.
Yeah, I was going to say, you seemed quite chuffed, and when it got to 6-2 and Unnamed was slowly clawing it back round for round, was you thinking to yourself, oh, not again, I don't want a repeat of the other week?
Yeah, like it feels good to finally get a win with the new roster now. Definitely didn't want another throw happening.
And what I was going to say was, with Coastline, is it one of your potential better maps or one of your best maps? Because in those first 4 rounds, almost the 5th round as well, your defensive half was so strong.
It's definitely one of our better maps. I don't know if it's our best, because we like playing most of the meta maps, so I don't know. It's one of our stronger maps, though.
Yeah, I suppose it just depends on the scenario. Some people had their better maps. I didn't know if it was your best map or not, because your rounds were so clean in that first half. It wouldn't surprise me if you did say it was your best map. And are you feeling a little bit more comfortable and a little bit less pressured now going to next week's game? Because that's where it will guarantee if you make it to the playoffs, or maybe to offline finals, depending on the situation of Epsilon in these next 2 games.
I think the pressure is actually higher in the next game, so we need to win that. So I think we're looking for the 2nd seed spot for the playoffs. So
I think everyone in your group is trying to go for that 2nd place. By the look of things, we were just discussing that as well. But congratulations on your win, Harris.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does seem pretty chuffed. Probably a little bit more relieved, would you think?
I think it was a big win for them, especially whenever Unnamed are literally breathing down theirs necks. You know, at the at the moment, they were, or before that match, they were in the position of relegation.
They were, yeah, because they're on the same points, even though there's only a couple of rounds difference between the 2 teams. If they lost that game, then that could have been it.
Certainly could. And given Wind and Rain's performance after the first week, as we commented, they've really dropped off. They've struggled over the last couple of weeks. They've had a couple of tough results to take. They've come back, you know, they've fought their way back into it, and that's what we like to see, because, you know, at the end of the day, we don't want to see a team go on a 3 or 4 week losing streak and head into relegation. Let's at least have everybody fighting for it, and that's what Wind and Rain have come out and done today. They've shown some really good spirit, and I'm impressed with what I see again. Maybe I'm the good luck charm. Week 1, week 5, there's a good result.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I think they'll be hoping you're here next week and the playoffs as well, especially the playoffs at that point.
To be fair, I've been here week 1 and week 5.
Yeah, not so much good
and
luck.
so is he, so where's the theory coming from? And so have all the production teams, so...
He's trying to take the glory away.
The 2 good results they've had have been the only weeks I've been here, so I'm obviously the differential.
Yeah, well, this is it, you know. I know Demo wants to say you're the lucky charm as well, but it's okay, you're the lucky charm as well. It's okay, don't worry about it. It's fine.